Because apparently they lived in the house just.
Hey, Doug, we have 4, so if you want to bug out, I understand.
All right, we got a quorum. We got everybody here we need.
Sorry, with St. John's Church for
We're ready. Get this where I can see it. Good. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Michael Garris, Chair. I call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Historic District Commission to order this. I guess this is what, the 24th day of February 2022. There is a quorum present. The roster of the staff to the commission, of the commission members, and the technical posts that they fill in accordance with the requirements of the Hagerstown zoning ordinance are on file with the city of Hagerstown or available on request of any applicant and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard today. All decisions rendered are based on the Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines as adopted by the city of Hagerstown. Each decision is made on a case-by-case basis and is not intended to be precedent setting. If you have any cell phone or electronic devices, please make sure that they have been silenced. Please note that we also are transmitted live on YouTube. There are 2 types of cases: consent agenda and design review. For the consent agenda, I'll ask anybody in our audience if they have any issues with those particular cases. If not, I will then ask commission members if they have any issues with those consent agenda items. If they have no issues, then we will blanket approve those particular cases and those applicants would be free to go. For design review, when your case is called, please join with the commission at the table, please, or at the podium, I guess. For the record, please state your name and address. There will be a brief synopsis of your application by our staff consultant. After that, the floor will then be turned over to the applicant for any further elaboration. The floor then would be open for discussion by commission members prior to rendering a decision on that application. At this time, we do not have any minutes for approval. So we have consent agenda item HDC 2022-09 for 101 South Prospect Street for St. John's Episcopal Church for metal gate on the building alcove. I take it nobody in our audience is here to speak out against those particular cases. Hearing none. Commission members, any concerns with this particular case, consent agenda items?
No.
This is Doug. I think it looks good.
Okay, Mr. Carroll, if you could speak up just a little bit. I could hear you briefly, but I couldn't really clearly understand.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I said I no issues. I think this looks good.
Okay. All right. Other commission members are in agreement. We'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda items.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed the materials submitted in case number HDC 2022-09 and its associated staff report and recommendations, and I have viewed the property in question. Staff report recommends approval of this application as consistent with the applicable standards adopted by this commission, and no one has appeared at this hearing with concerns about issues with or objections to this application. Therefore, I move that this commission adopt the staff evaluation and recommendations in this case as its own and grant certificates of appropriateness to the applicant for case number HDC 2022-09.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motions, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, all motion carries. All right. That particular applicant for the church is free to head out. And we'll get that, they have the pool permit for that one? They have the pool permit for that one, so. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Next up, HDC case for design review 2022-01 for 603 Oak Hill Avenue for a fence.
Okay, this is HDC case 2022-01. The applicant is Brendan Fitzsimmons. Property is located at 603 Oak Hill Avenue. This is in the Potomac Broadway Local Historic District. Building is a B resource, contributes to the character of the district, but is not likely to qualify for National Register listing individually. 2 photographs of the front of the property are shown on page 1 of your staff report. This is a property at the corner of Oak Hill Avenue and I believe it's Charles Street. This is the property that up until recently had the 20-foot tall hedges along the front street right of way and along the side street right of way. They have since been removed. Description of work and plans. The applicant proposes to install a 48-inch ornamental black metal fence along the right of way of Oak Hill Avenue and Charles Street. Due to limitations in the zoning ordinance that limit fences to no more than 3 feet in height within 25 feet of a street intersection, the fence will stop 25 feet from the intersecting property lines at the street corner and cut across the lawn at a diagonal. There would be a 14-foot automatic retracting gate at the main driveway entrance that would be recessed into the site by 26 feet, so an entering vehicle can leave the street waiting for the gate to open. There would also be a pedestrian gate along Oak Hill Avenue between the driveway gate and the intersection. Staff recommendation is approval. This is the property that until recently was surrounded by 20-foot hedges. They were removed recently. The design guidelines are a bit out of date on this issue. In recent years, the mayor and council amended the zoning ordinance to permit front yard fences, whereas they used to be prohibited. And most recently, the permitted height of front yard fences was amended to go from 3 feet up to 4 feet. Therefore, the guidelines last revised about 10 years ago are rather quiet on the issue of front yard fences. Front yard fences are rare in the historic district, and none of the large hilltop houses along Potomac Avenue have fenced front yards. Although I will add that historically there have been ones that did have fences in their front yards. Installing the fence will not damage historic resources and can be removed in the future without damaging historic resources. Secretary of Interior Standards 2, 9, and 10 apply.
Our applicant,
Gentleman back here represents the applicant.
okay, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Come on up here, please.
You're representing the Grow Foundation or are you the installer? Just, okay, just give the address for the foundation.
Clifford Atkins, 603 Oak Hill Avenue.
Anything to add? Commission members? Concerns, questions?
This is Doug. I have one question. Why the 25-foot setback from the intersection?
For traffic safety and visibility, if you had a fence that goes right up to the point where the 2 sidewalks meet, it cuts down on cars getting visibility up the street trying to get out of the intersection.
Also, when I snow plow, my plow, when I come through there, to get inside, I have to be able to get my plow in there first.
Okay.
With a smaller
that was-
fence, it's a much better condition than having the 20-foot tall hedges because that really blocked the intersection off.
Yeah,
Understood.
I was going to say that. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Those hedges were always very hazardous, and this fence would be see-through. But I mean, I understand the rationale. I was just curious.
Any other questions by commission members?
Just question about the stop bar on Charles Street. Can it be relocated forward any farther, or it's been located within the city guidelines?
I assume it's been located within the city guidelines, but that'd be a function of the city engineer's office.
Okay.
I'm operating on the assumption that
Okay.
they put it where the engineering's
Okay. I was
design
just-
standards say where it should be.
Yeah, just asking.
I know Miss Allen had a question in regards to the fences, but I don't remember.
I think her concern was starting to allow front yard fences, but that's really kind of covered by the zoning ordinance.
So I mean, the zoning ordinance allows it, so at this point, we have to permit it. And it's
This
not
is
held to
one of
this.
those- It's one of those gray areas where HDC regulations within the zoning ordinance and the zoning ordinance themselves kind of get gray and where one drops off and one picks up. But as a practical matter, if the folks who meet in this room on a regular basis got wind that the HDC was denying people front yard fences, whereas they're permitted elsewhere in the city, I don't think that would go over real well.
No, but I think we need to make sure when our guidelines are updated, the front yard fences are more decorative and much more open, where, I mean, a lot of our fencing that occurs on side yards and rear yards are basically more opaque, solid type construction at that point. So,
We'll have to make sure that's in there.
so, okay. All right. Any other comments, concerns?
There's not going to be any fencing on the northern side. Because it shows the fence.
There's already a fence there.
There's already a fence there?
There's a chain link fence, yes.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
It's got a lot of shrubbery up along that
Yeah,
side
There's
too.
already
So,
a chain link fence.
okay.
It hides it, okay.
All right. Anything else, commission members? Hearing none, I assume that everybody is in agreement. We'll entertain a motion for adoption.
I'll do a motion if you like, okay? Mr. Chairman, I've inspected the project plans and the property in question, and if constructed in accordance with these plans, the project is compatible with the character of the district for the reasons that the height setback as noted on the drawing, materials, architectural detailing, general form and proportion are generally in harmony with the residential historic districts and the character of the adjoining properties. Therefore, I move that HDC grant a certificate of appropriateness to the applicant for case number HDC-2022-01. I'm sorry, 03. No, it's 01.
It's 01.
It's 01,
Go ahead,
my
Mike.
error.
All right. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Mr. George?
Yeah.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries.
5-0. Thank you very much.
All right, next case, HDC 2022-03 for 831 Oak Hill Avenue for repair of a front porch. Is our applicant here? You want to come on up to the table and state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Andrea Aragon, 831 Oak Hill Avenue.
All right.
Beaverstown.
Thank you.
Head out, you go down to the first floor, go out the side door, out in the carport, rather than the front door.
Okay, well,
No, go out, like you're heading out towards Stone Street, so there's a side hallway.
oh,
Go down a couple steps down and it takes you out to the carport.
Oh, okay.
Go out to the carport, please. Okay. This is HDC case number 2022-03. The applicants are Justina Aragon and Andrea Aragon. The property is located in the Oak Hill Historic District at 831 Oak Hill Avenue. Building is a B resource. It contributes to the character of the district, but is not likely to qualify for National Register listing individually. Photograph for the front of the property is shown on page 1 of your staff report. Description of work and plans. The applicant seeks approval to reconstruct or otherwise make major repairs to the front entry porch. The metal cladding on the 2 pillars, which corresponds to the pilasters on either side of the door, would remain. The roof would be composite. Gutters and downspouts would be replaced. Structural members would be repaired and replaced with wood. The applicant also shows 2 options for a railing on the porch roof. One is a railing to match the first floor porch railing, or 2, remove the existing railing and not replace it. Staff recommendation is for approval. Gutters should be half round with round downspouts. Staff recommends not installing new railing on the porch roof. This is option B. The existing railing on the porch roof seems to be of circa 1970s design. In other words, not original to the building. And given that there's no window or door over the roof, the porch is likely didn't have a railing in the past. So The staff recommends approval with no replacement of the porch roof railing.
Anything to add?
We wanted to take out the gutter and the downspout. Can we do that? And just shed the water. The contractor said it was okay to shed the water on the newly replaced,
This is just for the porch roof.
just for the porch.
It's small enough. It shouldn't create any water or erosion problems, I wouldn't think. If you want to make that amendment, you just mention that in the record and that becomes the amendment. We're fine.
It says on my third page, I see there, then the other change, it says to remove non-historical downspout and gutter wrapping the canopy. This page here.
Right.
Here.
Okay, so you're going to amend that to just say remove the gutter and downspout.
Yeah, then the other change that we wanted was right now, it's, the eaves are slats. You can see it on this picture right there. We wanted to demolish, new roof eaves to be painted solid wood, exterior plywood or MDF in lieu of wood slats. So they're really, they look like bamboo that's already warped.
Typically, a lot of times porch roofs were built that way. Guess it depends on how visible you view it.
Well, it was probably more of a soffit material put on the underside of the roof structure right there, because the roof structure probably is what overhangs out there where the gutter is actually mounted to. So there should be like framing in behind that. So they can cover it with plywood on the underside.
Yes, yes.
It wouldn't really matter at that point, as long as it's all painted out, it's a solid, but a lot of times they just use the wood slats. It was something economical.
Yeah, they think they needed to vent the roof.
Okay, so they need to cut some opening, put it some,
Yeah, but the carpenter said that there was no need to vent it. And if anything, you could probably provide just a vent at the edge.
okay.
So, but those are the three changes. We actually updated this already, Stephen's recommendations. And it will be painted to match the house.
The soffit area would be a smooth panel. The question I had in the description, we had the roof being composite. What type of roofing are we talking about?
It's like asphalt shingles, but which it matches I think the existing roof.
All right, but it's a roll material.
No, actually, it's individually stapled.
What's the existing porch roof?
It's individually stapled. Actually, I don't know.
Existing, really?
The porch right now.
I don't think there's enough slope that it would be shingles at this point. So it's
I thought it
probably,
would have been a rubber roof or something.
well, it could be rubber, but more than likely, it looks like an asphalt shingles. It's probably got all the little granules on it. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's basically 3 foot. It's a long sheet, but it's generally 3 foot wide. They put it down in strips. It's called, a lot of people refer to it as roll roofing. But it is referred to as a composite sheet for commercial roofing. So I just wanted to make sure we're both on the same. So he's going to basically adhere to the roof deck.
Yes.
So it'll be roll roofing at that point. I just want to make sure you're not going to see it other than from the window up above there at that point. So I just wanted to make sure I understood what was going down.
If you be individual shingles, but not give you enough pitch to drain it properly.
Right, yeah.
So if you use roll roofing, it would probably be fine.
Yeah, should be okay.
We'll mimic exactly what's there because, yeah.
All right, and I would certainly recommend also to eliminate the railing, because that's probably what's caused a lot of your damage. Typically, those penetrations don't get over time, they open back up and water gets in there. So you're better off not to have the railing around that.
And with the railing design that I say, it's gonna be a big, strong oriental character. to the green end.
So, yeah, I would definitely go with option B. Just take the railing off and let it go.
Mhm.
All right, commission members, any other comments or concerns?
No.
Hearing none. I assume we're all in agreement for approval then?
Oh, by the way, the contractor said PVC is probably not allowable, right?
For what?
Oh, for the fascia.
Probably not.
It's already finished, I didn't think so. But he recommended it to me because you never paint it again. I said I would because it's not white,
It will, yeah, tarnish out. Eventually you will paint it, but I just have them build it out of wood
Yeah.
at this point. Get a good primer and a couple coats. Commission members, any other concerns? All right. Hearing none, then we will entertain a motion to adopt.
Well, I'll do.
The-
Mr. Chairman, I have inspected the project plans and the property in question and have constructed in accordance with these plans. The project is compatible with the character of the district for the reasons that the materials, architectural detailing, and roof are in general form proportion are generally in harmony with the architectural design guidelines for the residential historic districts and the character of the adjoining properties. Therefore, I move that the HDC grant a certificate of appropriateness to the applicant for case number 2022-03.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? It's noted that the downspout and gutters are coming off of the porch. Everybody's agreeable with that. All right, hearing no objections. Any further discussion with the motion at hand? Therefore, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All right, those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next up, workshops. We don't have anything scheduled. New business, any new business that needs to be brought before this commission?
Just FYI, there's going to be Saturday in May, it's going to be the dedication of the new extension of the Arts Trail up to Washington Street into Hatters Plaza, which of course this body has had a hand in the design of.
Okay. Keep us informed on that.
Okay.
Any other new business?
I had something I wanted to mention. So I went to the Jacob Wheaton talk at the library last Saturday, and someone was asking where he lived, and someone who was a local historian said that there was a house still standing that he lived in on Bethel Avenue, I think, but there's no marker that's saying that. So I don't know if that's something that we could do or something that someone would do. But I don't know. I think it could be kind of a neat thing.
Where,
to do.
who lived?
Jacob Wheaton.
Jacob Wheaton.
We don't have one marking where Jacob Wheaton lived. I'm not even sure where he lived. We do have one marking where William Wilson lived. That's on the front of the old school buildings there on, is it Bethel? Because he lived right across the street from it. So we put the marker on the school rather than on the house. But that is correct. We don't have one for where Jacob Wheaton lived. And my guess is he probably over the course of his long life lived at several different locations, I would think, in the community. Did he say which property it was?
I don't remember the address. I just know it was on Bethel Street.
Okay.
Lived, or is that where he was born?
He was born in Middletown.
Okay.
He moved here as a young adult and then lived here all of his adult life, which he was old when he died. I mean, he was in his 80s, if I remember correctly. So he lived over half of a century here, but he wasn't born here.
It's the namesake of Wheaton Park.
Yes.
Correct.
So it had to be somewhere in that general area, I would think, for the park to be named after him. So,
Be interesting to see if he purchased a house. That would show up in the land records.
all right. Any other new business? Hearing none. Any old business needs to be brought before the commission?
Just want to let you know that from the staff level, we are getting to the point where we're looking to crank back up on working on the update of the design guidelines. Just as a refresher for folks, probably a couple of years ago, I guess now, we actually had a few workshops amongst you all looking for your feedback on how we should update the design guidelines. So we're at the point where it's becoming a priority now to move it forward to a draft stage. So we're hoping to have a draft for you to start reviewing June-ish, July, or somewhere in there. Megan Flick, staff planner, will be the primary writer on it. She was involved in the workshops that we did before.
Yeah.
But she's got a couple of annexations she needs to process. And then in between that, and then after that's over, that'll become a priority. And we're shooting for, like I said, early summer to have a draft for you all to start reviewing. And one of the things that is going to happen is that right now we have two sets of design guidelines. It's being consolidated into one. That was one of the directions that you gave us. So you'll get a single draft of a single document replacing two documents.
And fences will be addressed and a couple of these other things. Is outstanding.
And I mean, it'll be our staff's cut on the direction you gave us. So obviously part of the review process, we're not expecting to rubber stamp it. I mean, we're going to end up taking some time over a few meetings and going through it page by page to see if there's anything you want to change, update, whatever.
I know one of the things we were talking about was updating photos, so I didn't know if you'd started that process yet or not.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But we will. And probably it's better to wait until spring anyway, where everything's not dingy and covered with road salt.
Okay. All right. Any other old business?
I'll just throw out my white vinyl fence again. I know you're waiting.
I've not forgotten you. I just, it's going to take me another week or two to get to it. I'm
Well,
just,
by the way, there is another over on Potomac Avenue. The man and woman who came to us about their front porch.
on the east side as you're heading north.
On the east side as you're heading out, one of the properties south of them, new white vinyl fence.
I'll take a look at it when I'm heading home from work tonight. Go right by there.
It's in the backyard. One's back
The
over
backyard
side.
fence. Okay.
All right. Anything else? Any announcements? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Who seconded that?
Anybody second?
Doug.
There it
Doug.
goes.
Doug seconded.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Next meeting would be March 10th. See everybody then.
Good. While you're here, I mentioned this to Steve.